gentlemen, welcome to the Machine Room Podcast. Thank you for being here once again. I'm too bright. Sorry about that. The light was all on my face. I was about to say my name. I'm Nostradamus.
And a
Nostradamus.
favorite. You're both.
Yes, I'm all that.
He
And
swings both ways.
stage right is Hammer of Venus. And we'd like to thank you once again for being here at the Machine Room Podcast, the one spot for, I don't know, everything you need. I guess it's just a chilling area, dog. I guess.
And we call out fuckery when we see it.
Yes, so much fuckery, and this week's fuckery is such a big fuckery. It just feels like it happens almost every year to this point, you know. I feel like it just started. I don't know. I feel like maybe it started when it was the whole Janet Jackson
The
incident.
titty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tittygate, I think they called it or something like that.
Hashtag tittygate.
But we're talking about the halftime show, which, look, I'm not a big sports fanatic. I don't care. Super Bowl to me is just a big event for commercials
Yes.
and the halftime. All right. Speaking of Tittygate, after Tittygate, halftime has been like a little bit like, oh, we gotta get some people that won't be like doing too many crazy shit or be too offensive and blah blah blah, because the Super Bowl is supposed to be a family affair, a family event, you know, and all that crap. So
When
this
did the
year,
Prince one happen?
hmm?
When did Prince... Was Prince before or after the titty?
Prince, I think, was before, no?
I don't know.
I don't know. And that was always odd to me because Prince, you know, like wouldn't he be like,
That, that was like the best halftime show, or even just concert in general, period. Like,
well,
it was amazing.
I thought Prince would be against the establishment. I personally, you know, Michael Jackson's was fucking crazy. Phantom Knight saying, "How's everyone tonight? We good, but we're pissed because, like I said, we're talking the halftime. So I don't know what made them go to let's get Shakira and J Lo.
Because they're in Miami.
Ah, yes. Well, I
They...
see, but none of them are from Miami.
No, they're not.
None of them from Miami. J Lo's from fucking. She's a New Yorican, and Shakira is Colombian and Lebanese. So
Really? I didn't know that.
yeah, she's half Colombian, half Lebanese, or something like that.
She has a weird voice. I don't like, and that's coming from me.
So the performance happened, and I was like, all right, that's cool. Shakira, all right, cool. You know, I don't like J Lo, so I'm all like, oh, Shakira, all right, cool. But then I saw that they rocked it, and I saw J Lo's you know, repping the Puerto Rican flag, which right now, you know, not just like it's in general is great, but right now, you know, that island is still going through a lot of stuff. I mean, they're still getting earthquakes like crazy. I've seen a video where this man was just at an ATM,
I
and then
saw that too.
yeah, you saw that, and it was that
He jumped
big
in his
shake.
car. It's like, get the fuck out of here.
So I saw the show when I got home, the halftime show, not the whole Super Bowl. I don't give a shit. And I loved it. Well, I saw Chiquita's parts, and I loved it. Like, you know, it was dope. When it got to J Lo, you know, like I said, I'm like, I don't care. But I saw that she did like some strip pole dancing or something like that, blah blah. But you know, nothing where I was like, oh, this was too much. At the end, it was fucking great. They shared a stage. Chiquita did this dope ass freaking footwork dance segment called the champera or something like that, which is I thought it was like some footwork kind of stuff, but apparently it's like it's Colombian dance of Colombian footwork kind of dancing or whatever, and it was really cool.
It's how
And
they stomped the water out of the cocaine
just like that, boy, to the beat.
to the beat. Yeah.
And they were rocking it, you know, and I loved Shakira always. So I thought it was dope. And I thought everybody, I mean, that's what I saw on the internet. Everybody was loving it.
Yeah. As far as I saw, and I'm on I'm online like all day long, and everybody loved it. I didn't
Plugged in.
see negativity until later.
Mm-hmm.
But the people that were watching it live were like, "This is amazing." Everybody did great. The dances, the music, everything, the costumes. It wasn't until like way after the Super Bowl had ended the like the bitching people started to come out.
The bitching people that were in hiding.
Yes. The bitch ass people that need to shut up.
Is
Once
like
again, it's remember this about what we're talking about. The loudest people in the room are not the majority. So shut up.
mm-hmm. Just sit back. I don't know, man. It's like I think about the days we grew up and nobody was bitching like that I know of. I mean, I was a kid, but I don't remember anybody bitching like crazy. It's like, oh, this is too much for TV and the kids and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, shut up, dude. Like for real.
These are coming from the same parents that probably let their kids like play war games and shit like that where murder is okay, but you better not have any kind of sexuality or like beauty about yourself, like a natural beauty like that. Like
Right?
don't flaunt your beauty because then they think you're a whore.
Like, don't look at these girls shaking their ass and just have being beautiful and whatnot, which wasn't even that like it wasn't nothing too freaking sexual. Oh my god, J Lo was on a pose like, dude, come on, like Lady Gaga did a show too, did they go crazy for Lady Gaga? And people keep mentioning last year when Adam Levine was shirtless and freaking grinding or something. I don't know, I don't remember the show, but it's stupid. I had something and I forgot because I'm going on a tangent and pissed off. They exactly did that. They were representing the culture. They not only represented the culture, they also represented America. It was fucking great. Everybody had fun. It was beautiful. I didn't even think so much about it like that. I watched it and I was like, oh my god, this was actually a great halftime show. And then I don't know where people are like, oh no, this is awful for my child and blah blah. But I bet you now I remember what I was gonna say. Like I bet you they let them fucking play Fortnite all the time and shit. Go play Fortnite and kill people and shit.
Yeah, murder is fine, but sexuality is not. It's totally reversed. And it's the same parents that bitch about bad language. Bad language is fine if you know when and where to use it and when not to use it. That's what parents should be teaching their kids.
Mm-hmm.
They should be teaching their kids what sex is, true, honest sex education. They should teach them, okay, you're going to swear. Don't do it at church. Like that kind of shit. But
Like
they don't. They make it all like these are evil and it's taboo, and so then it becomes like anything that's taboo can be like fetishized or something like that, where it's like, ooh, it's taboo, it's naughty, we shouldn't be doing this, but let's do it anyway. And then you have 14-year-old girls that are having sex.
yeah,
Instead of teaching them about sex and be like, sex is fine, just wait till you're like 17.
sex is good. Okay, it's like Phantom Knight said. People just want something to be negative and have something to hate.
They do. Instead of advocating things that you love.
Mm-hmm. I think
Like, that's what's so great about the geek culture is that we advocate things that we love. We're not out there protesting and fucking, um, linking arms and blocking cemeteries for funerals. I mean, those people are the ones that are in the wrong. That's fucking evil.
it makes you think like, is it an attack because it is Latin America?
That's probably one. Like, Trump supporters probably don't like it
Mm-hmm.
because they're like, oh, they're not white. They're not Caucasian, whatever. This is over sexualized. It's like, no, it's not. If you knew anything outside of your own culture, you would know that other cultures dance like that, and it's perfectly fine. It means nothing.
This is not my America. That was my best Southern. It was awful.
If it's bad.
It was very awful. But I feel like that could be a reason as well. It's just they saw that and they're like, oh no, I don't like this, and I don't like what it's representing, and I'm mad. I'm gonna blame my kids for it. It's worse shit. There's worse shit on TV.
Oh,
Way
totally.
worse.
We were
Way.
flipping through the channels, and I mean, like FX and stuff like that can show sex scenes as long as there's not like nips and stuff like that.
Right.
And it's just like a bullshit double standard. I don't understand how they can be mad at people dancing and gyrating and stuff like that. I mean, if they like were butt naked, yeah, that would be different. There'd be shit flying all over the place. But it's nothing. It's like I said,
It's
it's there's different cultures that dance like that, and that they were trying to represent, and they did it very well, and most people thought that it was great. They did the same thing when Prince did the Super Bowl halftime show. They were saying that he was over sexualizing his guitar and it looked like his dick. I was like, no, you're seeing that. That's more of a problem with you. I see a man that loves his job and was playing the shit out that guitar.
he loved his guitar, not. What up, Danny?
Loved it.
We are good. We are good here. We are good even though people are not good for stupid reasons, Danny. Because they don't like to see people having a good time on TV. They don't like to see dance. Are these people living in small towns where dancing is illegal?
Yes, the Kevin Bacon town from Footloose. That's where all of the arguments are coming from. That, and I can only think, it's probably a bunch of Westboro Baptist fucking Nazi people.
There was this post I saw, and it apparently was a Twitter post, and they said, "Damn it, I wish I remember verbatim." But the guy said something like, "Why did I didn't know that?" No, there it is. Like he said, "I didn't know that the halftime show. I didn't know that the Super Bowl was taking place in Mexico. Because of the halftime show." And then someone replied like,
Oh.
"Yeah, yet the two people are not Mexican." And then that person replied back with, "Then why are they singing in Mexican?"
Oh my God. First of all, Mexican is a nationality and they speak Spanish.
Singing in Mexican. Now that's a tough title there.
That's the name of my memoirs.
It'll all make sense at the end of her memoir.
Exactly. It was going to be called Everybody Sharts, but
Mm-hmm.
now it's going to be called Speaking Mexican.
Mm-hmm. It's stupid, man. And people just getting mad for anything. Once again, that's like what? This is like a constant weekly thing now, right? That we talk about, like people just getting pissed off and complaining about everything and anything. What's it gonna be next week?
Potatoes look like tits.
Imagine. Imagine.
It's this whole bullshit Puritan culture that, you know, so many people, like especially conservatives, want to live by. And I think that whole kind of mindset holds us back as like with not only as society but as a species. It's like if we can't get over our hangups like that, then we're never going to be like Star Trek, where everybody's cool with each other and we can just fly around in the universe and fuck green chicks.
Mm,
That's where I want to go. That's my
mm. You want to go green? I want to go purple.
purple. Okay, I like that.
Mm-hmm. Fuck purple chicks.
Fuck.
We should have been there already, though. It's 2020. When we were
We
kids,
should be there.
2020 seemed like it was gonna be the shit.
Yeah, where's all the flying cars and hoverboards and hologram paper and all that shit?
Exactly. I really wanted the clothing with the neon lights in it, you know?
Yes.
Just
Or like in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, those big ass boots.
the stupid crazy boots, dog.
Big,
Right now, there should have been a track by the Wild Stallions and we should have
yes,
all been in peace.
everybody. But we can't because people want to bitch about halftime shows
We
and
can't.
speaking
No, you know?
Mexican.
Yeah, that's because, if Bill and Ted was in the halftime show, then we'll be set. We would have been done.
Oh, that would be amazing. Speaking of which, when was the last rock performance? I guess last year, technically, but
What was last year's?
that guy with no shirt.
Oh, Adam
Maroon.
Levine.
Yeah, but he's more pop to me.
Yeah, he's like pop rock or whatever.
You'll never see like a Slayer halftime show.
No, that's too. Now you're asking. You're going way too far now. Or maybe they'll like that. Like, yeah, Slayer. You see that boy? That's music,
They'll protest that before they even take the stage.
right?
Like, you ain't getting on the stage, boy.
I feel like there was a lot of devil worshiping going on in that halftime show. But whatever get us the damn championship.
That would be great if the teams that went to the Super Bowl got to pick the whoever. So like whoever got to the Super Bowl, like the team voted for it, and then they're like, "Dude, we should get Slayer." And they're like, "Okay, well, we made it to the Super Bowl, so half of the halftime show is Slayer. Deal with it."
It's like both teams from each, what you call them, conference. I don't know, but both
Yes,
teams get to pick like, okay, we want this artist, and they'll be like, okay, we want this artist. So it's like, all right, so those two
that's that.
artists go ahead and freaking play halftime.
Then be like, um, Slayer and Avril Lavigne.
Make it happen.
Make it.
Uh,
I don't.
16 bit here said he went to the Super Bowl that the Who played at, and it was so bad.
I didn't know who played a Super Bowl halftime show.
Me either.
They were off key and out of sync. Oh, that's
Mm,
bad. If a band has been playing that long together, you'd think they'd be able to stay on beat.
it was not a good night. Maybe they were on drugs.
That's what you hope. I love that line from Bill Hicks talking about rock stars on drugs. He's like, "Fuck that! I want my rock stars dead."
Damn. I'm not a
But
fan.
yeah,
2010? The Who played 2010, huh? Yeah, I think that's when. Yeah, I think that's like after that whole Teddy Gate. They had these like very. I want to say, well, old performers, but also like
it was
performers from like
safe.
old generation. You know.
They were playing a bunch of safe shit,
Yeah, they were
especially
playing a
for
whole bunch of
Prince.
shit. Then they
They're
started
like,
going like, okay, we're gonna. Then it started gradually going into like, okay, mainstream kind of stuff. You had that Bruno
yeah,
Mars one time and Beyonce. Everybody loves Beyonce.
I don't.
Gaga jumped in from the fucking roof.
That's pretty epic.
Yeah,
She came in like Sting, just started beating the shit out of everybody with the baseball bat.
that would have been dope. That would have been dope. You see that was the setup. They should have had like other female artists right there, and then Lady Gaga came down, Sting fucking gear, and just whacked everybody, and they started playing Bad Romance or something.
That's what they should do for a halftime show. It just instead of bands, it's just wrestling, and it's just like
Yes.
a Royal Rumble for 30 minutes.
Now we're fucking talking here. Now we're talking. That
Goldberg just spears everybody out of the ring and wins, and then
yes.
just buds for you.
I'll pay for that. That's when I'm
I'll
like,
buy
oh,
that for $1.
I can't wait to the Super Bowl. I can see Goldberg just fucking spear everybody.
and spitting.
Old as shit now. Tired.
I love
16,
it.
16-bit says, I'm just saying, if Janet wants to pop a titty out, I won't ever complain. Me too.
Ever.
Ever.
I,
That
will- I- I'll applaud those titties.
that I that beautiful titties. Okay?
Beautiful.
They
I
would
love my favorite thing of that was Justin Timberlake's reaction because he just kind of did it on the sly and then he went, "Ooh,
yeah, like oh shit.
that's a Jackson titty."
Oh snap! Wasn't it like it, they said it was an accident, but it was like it was supposed to happen, and there was supposed to be a pasty on there, but I think the pasty came off as well.
She was supposed to have something on underneath,
Mm-hmm.
and everything came off.
Cause Justin don't play. He
Mm-mm.
wanted them titties out.
He used the Jedi mind force to make the titties happen. He's a full Jedi.
They just need to people need to relax. It's not that serious. I just thinking about how we grew up, and I know it's probably the same for me and everybody else here. Like, dude, there's a generation that grew up on the Juggernaut bitch, like, and they
Do you remember?
shouldn't have. But
You remember PG-13 used to have cussing and titties and smoking?
yeah,
They pushed all of that to R-rated movies. Bunch of bitch ass.
it's getting super more and more sensitive, and I can understand, you want your kid, whatever, but you also cannot shield your child forever.
No, and that should really be the discussion for what we're talking about is I think we talked about it before. There's two different terms. There's snowplow parent and then there's helicopter parent. They pretty much do the same thing where they overprotect their child throughout their life. Like they're in their 30s and they're still calling, job interviews they didn't get and like, well, you didn't fucking hire my kid. I'm gonna, make sure you get fired and shit like that. And it's ridiculous. Like these parents need to fucking cut the umbilical cord and fucking let their kids grow up. You're gonna see titties. You're gonna hear fuck words. Grow up. Deal with it.
That sounds more, I don't know, like that sounds like it's just like a suburban thing, you know?
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
here in the city is like, go, get out of here, go do something, do this and that or whatever. You
Once I got my driver's license, my mom was like, "Why are you at home?" I'm like, "Oh shit, like,
you right.
I
There's
can
no
leave.
kids here.
Like, I can just leave."
16-bit, fuck them kids. Kids are important. I don't know. Like people say like, oh, kids are.
I'm gonna
I
get
think it.
um, I'm gonna get my fingers tattooed, and it'll say "Beat Kids."
Beat
Beat
kids,
kids.
beat their ass. I think it all depends on the parent, man. For real, parents. It all depends on the parent, how kids come out and stuff like that. I I wasn't like fucking crazy as shit as a kid. Um, I have a cousin in Puerto Rico, and her daughter is like, you ever seen like TV shows and movies, and they'll be like a parent or a single parent, and they have a child, and the kid is like Dakota Fanning or something, and she's like super mature for her age or some shit like that, and you're like, that those kids don't really exist. No, they exist out there. My cousin has a little girl who is like she's she's a little girl, and she's a child. She acts like a child, but she acts mature as hell. Like, so mature and so respectful, but also she's a child, so she'll like to have fun. Last time I saw them, she took my Captain America hat and she kept playing around with it and stuff like that. And she had her little kid moment, but she also knew how to be like a grown person, kind of. I don't know how to explain it, but what I'm talking about. Dakota Fanning, dog.
Yes,
Dakota Fanning.
they're always Dakota Fanning. Or what's the other one? The girl from Kick Ass.
Yes. Chloe Mentz,
Yes,
something like that.
it's always one or the other.
Yeah, something like that. Like, there's kids out there who are like that, And then there's just kids who parents don't know how to raise right, and they're just fucking out there being stupid and foolish.
First of
And
all, parents need to teach their kids the word no. And
mm-hmm,
they need to be able to tell their kids no, even for no fucking reason.
mm-hmm,
Can I go out? No. Why? Because I said so. Okay. And that should be the end of it. But ever since we stopped beating kids, now we have these kids that think they can get away with murder. And you know the weird thing about that? You have these kids like that that have never been told no to. And the biggest number of these mass shootings are young adults that probably never got their ass whipped.
you're right.
If they had got their ass whipped, they probably wouldn't have pulled a gun out and shot a bunch of people.
Some motherfuckers need to be straightened out.
Chloe Grace Moretz, yes, her.
Yes, her.
She's awesome.
She was. She's here and there. Like I think she got a big break after the Kick-Ass movies. But
She
she's
did that Greta movie, and that was epic.
right. You got that one. I'm thinking.
That movie's great.
I know she did another one that was about like some alien invasion or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah, I purposely missed that one.
She's here and
Not because
there.
just the story looked like it was done by the CW or something.
I see that. Also, easy on the CW, man. I still love those shows. Arrow finale was a nice little finale.
Um, yeah, I mean, I can see from personal experience that, you know, my sisters and I, we got disciplined. We got told no. But then again, we also got rewarded for things that we did. We also had our independence and we could have our own room. And I had my own phone line and things that I earned. I did chores and things to have my own phone line and my own cable box, stuff like that. And we were able to go out and do things and have fun. But because our mom taught us, you know, when and where to, you know, make sure that you're safe, make sure that, you know, you're not going to get pregnant or knocked up or something, or, you know, check in, you know, those kind of things. We all grew up fine. None of us had kids early. None of us had, you know, a drinking problem, a drug problem, none of that stuff, because our mom talked to us about those things and led us out into the world. And we all did great.
It's really a key factor. Just parents talking. I was the baby, so I would get mostly. I wouldn't say I got everything I wanted, but I would get majority of stuff I wanted. There's a lot of stuff I didn't get that's when you grow up and you're like, I got money, so you get everything you want. But my father was a very like soft spoken man. He talked to you like you're just a normal person and with much respect. Never screamed at you or anything like that. So
Oh,
yeah, and he was a social worker, so he knew how to talk to people, and there was a lot of respect there. So with that respect, I respected my father. I did everything to not like disappoint my father or piss on my father, and just get praises for my father and shit like that. I didn't do anything off the wall, and if I did anything, it would be like, oh shit, like I felt real bad about it. But he knew how I was, so he didn't really go like off the chain on me. So when I told my friends when I was a kid and shit, they're like, no, I don't get beat up. I don't get punished like that. I don't get like grounded or anything like that and stuff like that. And they're like, oh well, that's crazy because I hear my friends and they like either get beat the fuck up by their parents, they get grounded. I saw some kid, like I told you the story. I saw a kid get beat the hell out of by his mom in front of me, my house, and I just had to go like, okay, I'm going inside. I don't know.
I think you just touched on the key word there was respect.
Yeah.
When you respect your parents and you respect that kind of however they discipline you, either, you know, stern talking or if they're fucking you up, the point is to respect them and to listen to them and to learn from them.
Mm-hmm.
But if your parents are constantly shielding you from the world, then, like I said, then it's going to be a taboo. And a taboo thing makes weirdos and freaks and fetishists and, people like that, because they think, oh, this is, like a Pandora's box kind of thing.
It makes you, it makes you want to do more. Like
Yeah.
people are in a bubble, and then when they find out about this world, they're like, "Oh my god, I've been in this bubble. I want to do it all." And then you're
Yeah.
like, either you get thrown way into drugs, you get thrown way into fucking alcohol, or you just get thrown way into like just wild shit. It's just,
Yeah,
you know.
because they're trying to do everything at once, everything that they were shielded from.
Mm-hmm.
And like, um, we grew up with kids that were like that, were more so with parents that were like that with their kids. And they saw how my mom ran her house. We're all kind of loose and did our own thing, but we were never doing any bad stuff. We watched the Disney Channel and Nickelodeon and went to bed at 9 o'clock. And all of these kids that were like banned from going over to our house because they thought we were like some weird pagan, assholes or something. All of those kids grew up like strung out or on drugs, or they all had kids super early, and none of us did.
Look at them now,
Yeah, look at them now.
pieces of shit. You heard me. Just plain droll over here is like, I used to see friends and cousins get beat too. They looked at me like tag team partners getting their butts kicked. They were trying to tag you in, man. 16-bit is, as long as I wasn't doing any illegal shit, my parents were disciplinary when needed. Pretty much.
Anyway, my mom taught us about all that kind of stuff. Like, you're going to come across drugs and drinking, and, you should be the respectful adult one, more so be like the designated driver kind of thing. Like, just say no, just get away from situations that are like that. And that's what we did. I never smoked a joint or anything until I was 21.
I didn't drink until my 20s. Like, I didn't drink for a long time, and then there was a lot of times like, come on, because everybody's main goal was like, we're gonna get this guy drunk one day.
Fucked up.
Yeah, so they'll give me a shot, and I'll be like, all right, man, whatever. I take the shot, and then I don't do anything. That's it, just that one shot, just so they can shut up. And I didn't start like having some drink. You didn't start having some drinks until you go through some shit. And let me tell you, when I first went through some shit, that's when I finally like, fuck it, and I had some drinks and stuff, and I was like, oh look, this is what being tipsy is. And for years I was always like, I'm straight as straight. Look, till this day right now, like, I don't care about drinking. It's not like my go-to thing. It's a social kind of thing. Like once in a while. I know people that like that's their go-to, like drinking and fucking and weed. It's like they just gotta do it all the time. And I just do it when here and there. It's not really a big deal. But like I said, I didn't start that until I was a late bloomer in a lot of stuff. Growing up, I had a lot of, like I said, a lot of things. I was a baby. I had a lot of things given to me. I didn't have a lot of things yet given to me as well. And as I grew up, life hits you with a lot of stuff. Life really hit once my father's passing happened. So it's like, okay. So that's when you had to do the whole man up situation, right? And school was irrelevant at that time because why? My father passed away. My mom needed to be taken care of, and I was like the only one around to really take care of her. So that's what my main goal was, like, step up. So even though for someone who was handed a lot of stuff and dependent on like my father, who was the real guy who like kept the core of the family together, when that all went away, I had to step up. And then when I stepped up, I had to do what I had to do. Usually in some cases I won't have done anything. But even especially like working some like jobs, if you gotta do something, you gotta do something. You know, you gotta
True.
you gotta step up. And when I worked at one job, it's like, okay, go over there and change this and that. And I'm like, oh man, I never changed a damn thing in my life, but fuck it, I'll do it. I have to step up and do it. So that's why, like, even till this day, my mom still sees me as the little baby, but I have to remind her that I am not, and I can take care of myself.
It's like that, but the opposite because I'm the oldest.
Mm-hmm.
So I was always like, I had to look out for my little sisters. And I think, like,
No, no, hold on, wait. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you just lit a cigarette, so now you have to do it as a French person.
cafe au lait. I can't light it. I'll try again. Okay.
I had
That's all
to,
I
I
know.
had to take care of my little sisters. Understand?
I can't I can't do story time like that.
Go ahead.
Um but no, I was the oldest, so in a lot of ways I had to grow up faster. Like um I only went to high school for my freshman year, then I was homeschooled. I'm at 15 and I had to pay for my homeschool, so I had to get a job at 15. And it made me a lot more responsible. It made me, I had a car at 16 when a lot of my friends were still like, walking and asking for rides and they were still in high school. I graduated early.
you
I
have
I
to
took
use you have to use your legs.
yes, haha. I took college classes at 16, so I was doing a lot of adult shit very young, and I just got it in my head like, I saw what drugs and alcohol and shit did to my birth father and how it made him a piece of shit. And I was like, I never want to be that. So
Yep.
you were never anything that I wanted in my life. And then when you get older and you experiment with those kind of things, and then like the first time you ever have a hangover, you never want to drink again anyway.
Mm-mm. Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Like this is not for me.
I don't get it. I don't
Me
get
neither.
people that's like, yeah, I want to get shit faced drunk, and I'm like, like, no.
I just don't.
I've seen people there that didn't make me want to do it, and then the one time in my life that did happen to me, it's like I don't want to be in that position again. It's not fun. What the fuck? Even people who just like they want to get drunk till they black out and then they don't remember it
It's
and
like
they're like, huh, what happened? That's fun. Nah, not knowing what happened and then hearing it from other people, it's like, no, that's scary. I don't know what happened the day that I crashed and I still don't remember that day. That fucking is like,
was scary.
it's scary. I want to, like, I know it must be shocking and shit like that, but I want to know what the fuck happened.
I got blackout drunk once and people kept telling me stuff that I did or that happened while I was drunk. And the fact that I couldn't remember it scared the shit out of me. It's like I never want to be that out of control again.
So why would you want a moment in your life just absent, I guess, you know?
Yeah,
Like you don't remember that shit. And for
like you're just
and
unplugged.
going back, I thought you said I got blackout jerk, and I'm like, yeah, you got blacked out jerked.
Black
How
blackout
is
jerk.
that? You just wake up, you're like, what happened? When did this happen?
Good
Yeah, man,
times.
you blacked out and jerked.
That's epic. Just rub one out real quick. like um God, what is the name of that movie? What is the cowboy movie with Gene Wilder?
Shit.
Crap, I have it too.
God damn, come on, help us out, guys. The
Come on.
Blazing Saddles.
Blazing Saddles.
There it is.
And he says, "Excuse me while I whip this out." Phantom Knight said it.
Phantom, I get a prize.
Yes. You can
Phantom
watch
Knight.
Ray.
So I guess in conclusion, the motherfuckers need to stop being pussies. And we grew up with a lot of shit. Like I always
We
go
grew up
to,
with Rambo movies and
yeah, for real.
like
Like my father didn't care what I was watching with them, and I remember as a kid watching. It always comes to me that I remember watching Rocky Horror Picture Show every
mhm.
Halloween because they gave it on TV, and I loved it. And one time I watched it, and I'm there like my mom always had a TV in the kitchen, and I'm there in the kitchen, sitting on the floor watching it, and my mom and aunt is there, and my aunt is all like, "You let your child watch this?" And she's like, "Yeah." I go, "What?" It's like, and I'm here hearing this, and she's like, "I would never let my kids watch this. Look at these men dressed in drag and blah blah." And I'm just like,
So
yeah, it is so fucking. And those, she was very like trying to put those kids in a bubble, and it's like to this day she's still like that. And it's like,
that's
man, Rocky Horror Picture. There's nothing wrong with Rocky Horror Picture Show. And I grew up
uh,
as a kid watching it. I'm not here fucking dressed in stockings and whatnot. And if I was, so what? Shit.
be a lot cooler if he did.
Right? Next show.
Next show.
All stockings, motherfuckers.
That's those kind of people are the ones that just kind of ruin everything.
Yeah. But you know who might not ruin everything? And I hope this rumor is true. But rumor is that Sam Raimi is in the lead to direct the next Doctor Strange movie.
That would be cool.
Mm-hmm. Imagine that guy behind the wheel of a crazy movie that already they wanted. I heard in the beginning that was like, okay, we're gonna make this and it's gonna be a little bit more horror themed, but then they're also saying like it's not gonna be that much horror theme, but it is gonna open this whole vast thing about multiverses and whatnot. Regardless, I want another Doctor Strange movie for sure, because that movie was fantastic and that character is like
Absolutely.
I think Doctor Strange is gonna be like the new kind of lead in the whole fucking phases and stuff like that. But
He's the boss.
yes, I definitely want to like Sam Raimi. I'm like yes behind it because Spider Man's was the shit. Not three.
Except for 3.
Yeah, yeah. But I could definitely see that. I want it. Now that I
I,
know of it, I want it.
I still need him to redeem himself after Spider-Man 3.
And I think he could do
So
it.
I think if he can do a good Doctor Strange, that would be epic.
We can't blame him for that because we know it was the studio's fault. You know,
True,
you
but
know.
he made a lot of decisions after that out of spite, and that's what pissed me off about him.
He's like, you know what? Fuck it. So, but Marvel really, really lets the directors just like run with it. They
Yeah,
have a lot of faith in them, and they have better communications. So
that's true.
I'm
They
I'm
also
I'm
govern
all for it.
Marvel governs the scripts fairly. Like they have to have certain things in the script so that everything can tie together. But I mean, outside of that, they have a pretty good freedom.
Hmm. It's just this open world and stuff. Did you see the spot for the 3 Disney Plus shows they got? Right? Yeah,
No,
yeah. It was real quick, but they showed some things from the Winter Soldier and Falcon. Um, some things from the WandaVision one, which looks like it's gonna be really, really fantastic. It kind of has like the sitcom kind of feel to it.
it's funny.
Yeah, and there was a comic that was like, so it's really based on a comic of like WandaVision or whatever. And then the third one was Loki, which was just like one shot kind of thing. But those are the 3 coming out this year, and season 2 of Mandalorian in October, baby.
Yes,
Already.
I'm so stoked for that because,
Definitely want.
like, the way they ended it, like, they could just be like, haha, fuck you, now we'll never, now you'll never know what happens after that. And I was like, I really hope they continue the story because it's really good.
Oh yeah, and they still got like Dave Filoni behind it, and that guy knows his Star Wars lore, so they definitely want to really play around with. I'm excited for that, but I was thinking today because I have the Ahsoka book, right? But I never have time to read them, or I could make time, but then that would take me out of time from other things. So we talked about the audiobook thing, and you put me onto that, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna get back in there and really try it. So like I told you, I was like, you know what, let me get this Ahsoka one because I really wanted to read this book.
You did get it?
Yeah, I did get it,
That's
and I just literally just finished it like moments before we started talking to you. So it's a good story. It really like take you see Ahsoka in the world after the whole freaking Order 66 and the Empire's there and stuff like that and shit like that, and it also touches the basis of like the start of the rebellion. But in it, of course, you hear and Wedge Antilles shows up in it somewhere,
yes.
and I just think like, dude, like it just came to my head like this motherfucker's been around the prequel, the sequels, or should I say the prequels, the original movies, and the sequel at the end. This
Yep.
guy lived throughout the whole fucking saga, plus, of course, the Ahsoka book and whatever else. Like, let's have a TV show with this motherfucker. Let's make
That
a
would be
movie about because you gotta think about it. He lived throughout all this. He's that fucking dope. Wedge at Titties. Damn, I fucked up his name. Wedge Antilles?
and
Antilles. Antilles. I'm sorry, Star Wars fans. This guy is dope as shit. He should have his own comic book run, or his own movie, his own show, or something. Let's touch
you
about
would
these unsung heroes.
I would think that him being around through everything that's happened, he must really hate Palpatine.
Oh, for sure.
Hate.
Like he was Bail Organa's right hand man.
Yep.
They blew up the whole fucking planet. So damn well Wedge had a vendetta. He was like, "Oh, I'm
Oh
not
yeah.
gonna die. Mm-mm. I'm taking every single one of you fuckers down." And he
He's a
did.
total badass.
That motherfucker, him and Chewie, they outlived
Yep.
everybody.
He sure did.
So just like make it that is they paired up and they're on adventures.
That would be epic.
I
And
like
and
it.
the droids.
Yes, I like it. We just Wedge ass titties. That's what I did say.
Yes. Yes.
Wedge ass titties. That sounds like I'm making fun of someone. Get your wedge ass titties out of my face, bitch.
My titty. Okay. That just made me think of 3-6 Mafia.
Damn,
Ass,
they make a song?
titties, ass and titties. Ass and titties. And big booty bitches.
Now you got me thinking of wedge ass titties, but in that kind of way. Wedge ass titties. Wedge ass titties. Wedge ass titties. Wedge ass titties.
Get on it, 3-6 Mafia. We need a remix.
So they could have another Oscar winning song.
Yes, and we get to be in the video.
Oh, hell yeah. All of the wedges with big ass titties.
Big ass titties.
Just me like this, yo.
Speaking of the audiobook, yeah, I told you I got an audiobook too, a new one. I got Handmaid's Tale because I was hoping that they were going to talk more about how these group of people brought down the government and, made the entire country change, to this weird, overly religious, Puritan, conservative, like,
So it all started with the halftime show that just happened.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's what's scary is to have that kind of people like that because if you watch the show or read the book or whatever, I mean, it's only a small group of people that, they said just basically stormed everything, shot the president and the Senate and all that stuff. And then they just took over after that. And you look at the extremist people in China, they were whipping people in the street.
Burning
You
them.
know, yeah, and burning all kinds of shit. Like if they can do that kind of shit, they could easily take over and it would be the same people bitching about the halftime show.
Do you think something like that could actually happen though?
I do. If you look at other countries, like ones that overthrown governments and stuff like that, it really, once enough people band together, it's really not that hard.
You think that could happen like in America though?
Yeah,
A
I do.
society, a
It's
country
happened
that
here
is
before.
a country that's real like, eh. For the most part, people are like, eh, and they mind their own
It
business.
already happened here. You remember the original colonies were owned by the English.
Well,
The
yeah, but
Americans were a terrorist group to the English.
yeah, but
Anybody that calls themselves a true American were considered a terrorist. So terrorists out overthrew the government and created their own country, just like Handmaid's Tale. We didn't make it all super Puritan and conservative and religious, but it could have. People forget how easy it was. Not easy, but um, what Hitler was trying to do, and he almost did it. If the U.S., England, and Russia hadn't band together, I mean, we could all be speaking German right now. I mean, these things happen.
and Wolfenstein would have been a reality.
Exactly, Wolfenstein.
That's what
No,
Phantom is talking about over here. Is like, yes, unfortunately, if you look at the history of how Nazi Germany happened, it's scary how slow it started and how fast it gained steam to take over.
it does, and they were talking about that in more detail in the Handmaid's Tale book. How it started with just something simple like protest and stuff like that. Then it was they overthrew the government, and then they suspended the Constitution, and then they never brought it back. And then they started, freezing bank accounts and firing people and blocking the borders and stuff like that. That's how it happened. These things happen, like at Venezuela and Egypt and Argentina, and these countries that have had overthrown like that. It happens, and when it happens, it feels like it's just overnight.
I don't want a big religious state.
I definitely don't. I already told you my backup plan if something like that happens. I'm gonna sneak into Mexico and then catch a flight to Ireland. Like, I'm out.
I'm closer to Canada, so
Yeah, go to Canada and then meet all of us in Ireland because that's where the party's at.
oh shit, we're gonna be in the pubs.
In the poops.
Ah, then I have to change my beer to red.
Get your wedge ass titties out of here. Exactly.
Let's make it a trend. Speaking of my beer kind of thing, this is a job
Off topic.
story, off topic, but in the sense of kind of like a racial. I felt like shit. What's the term when they just you just like, okay, you pass, wait, you right here, we're gonna check you, kind of stuff like that.
Oh, fuck, what is that called? A random screening.
Yeah, like racial profiling kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Kind of. So we have to, we have badges and we have to get checked in or whatever. There's this old white lady that she uses this finger thingy, right? And that just takes forever. There's like a van full of like fucking 10 guys. It's like we gotta go through each finger shit. Everybody else doesn't really do that. They just like boop one and then it's like, all right, everybody go on, and they just look at each one. So today we go and it's not her, it's some other dude. He looked like the father from Smart Guy, and he takes ours and he has me do the finger, and I'm like, all right, cool. I guess he's gonna have us each scan our fingers. So it's like me, all right, bam. And then he has the coworker, and this guy is I think not Iran. He's Iranian. No, he's either Iranian or Pakistani. I forgot which one, but he's Middle Eastern, and they have him do it, and then that's it. everybody else know, and we got to go. And then when we drove, I was like, wait a minute. So they had me, and then this guy. So what was that about? You know, like I felt like I was profiled because of the way I look.
Exactly.
And that happens before in the airport all the time. I always get like, you step to the side. I'm like, come
You
on, man. I'm fucking.
look
Do I have to
way
wear
you
put on
look
a
way
flag
too
or?
9/11 to be fucking at an airport. If you had a turban, it would just be 99% worse.
It was it. I was cracking up about it, but I was also like, what the fuck? I hate that so much.
I used to get that when I used to have like blue or green hair and piercings and stuff like that. I used to get that all the time. Like people used to. I had this happen twice. Once at Best Buy, once at Academy Sporting Goods.
Mm-hmm.
They had the security called on us, said we were stealing, and said that they had footage of us stealing. I was like, but I didn't steal, and you could literally check me. Like they would just make up shit. And I was like, I make more than your little security people do. If I want something, I'll just buy it.
And then before you walked out, you're like, you know what? I'm gonna steal it anyways, and then just run out that motherfucker.
All this shit. You know, it does not feel good.
It doesn't. It doesn't feel good. And that's what I. That's what I probably mentioned it before, but that's what I just feel like. A lot of people are just looking at me like thinking something. You know, and that's messed up.
That's why you should put some like pink in your beard. Cause then like nothing bad can happen with somebody with pink on.
Nothing at all.
Nothing. And like get like a unicorn tattoo just to like, double down. Just be like, I have pink in my beard and a unicorn. I can do no wrong.
I think yeah. I
And
think
it's
you're onto
like, oh shit,
something.
I'm sorry.
I think you're onto something. I'm gonna get the freaking rainbow bridge from Thor
There you go.
right on there. I think we're onto something, and I'm gonna have a tattoo across my stomach that says "Wedge Ass Tiddies" with the Chicago skyline in the fucking background.
Get a unicorn tattoo right here just so you can show it like a badge. Like, see, I'm cool.
Yeah. Get fucking My Little Pony kind of shit. I'm a brony,
Yes,
yo. I'm
a
a fucking
Bernie.
brony. I mean no harm. If they wrongfully, Jay Plain Drill said, if they wrongfully accuse you of stealing, corporate would fire them.
Not when you have blue or green or pink or some other weird color hair and piercings and Slayer shirts. They'd be like, did you kick him out? Did you call the cops?
It sucks, but it's how it is, unfortunately. What can you
So
do?
basically, what we're saying is pop the fucking bubble you have around your kids, let them experience life, teach them to respect you, and shut the fuck up.
Exactly. Be a good parent and quit being a pussy. Pussies create pussies. That's all I'm saying. And I guess this is just like from experience because when I was a little kid, I used to cry for a lot of shit. You know?
I bet you did.
Yeah, I used to cry for a lot of stupid shit. And then just like 1 year span, I was just like, you know what? I'm not crying anymore. And I didn't. And then someone tried to mess with me, and I'm just like, like I was ready to throw down, and people were like, "Yo, back off, man. This guy's not the same guy he was last year." Yeah, whatever. And I'm just like, do something.
That's because bald guys look like they want to fight all the time.
I wasn't bald then, but I was. I guess I was balding eventually.
You're hell bald now. You just always look like you want to fight.
I just talk a lot of shit, man. I'll just say my piece, and I think it's mostly the job that does that shit. And
Hmm.
a lot of people complain about like some changes that goes on there. Nothing happens to me because I guess I'm just, I'm like one of the vets, and the guys who really like run it like me, so they know how important I am, so they won't do anything. But yeah, it's a lot of bullshit, and I deal with a lot of bullshit, and I just say what's on my mind. I don't care, even to management. It's like I don't care, cause I'm gonna call you out on some BS. What are you gonna do? Fire me?
That's what we do.
And if you do, it'll be a blessing. So that was the Machine Room Podcast, and this show was a blessing. I'd like to thank everybody that came over here. Just plain droll. It was fucking fantastic to see you, man. You hardly come in here, and whenever you do, you got great things to say. This guy's gonna write my stand up. I'm telling you. Danny Duadi, you are the shit. Phantom Knight, you are the bomb, yo. If you're listening to this through any podcast, that sounds like Kevin Smith shit. Any podcast medium, Spotify, iTunes, whatever. Thank you for listening to us. If you're watching us on YouTube, thank you for watching us on YouTube. It's not, like it used to be, but it's still a nice little place where you could watch stuff
It is.
sometimes.
And the
And
thing that I like to do
mhm.
on YouTube is watch clips of John Wick movies. Boom, there it is.
You right. You right. Yesterday I was in Rex McKinnis' stream. Shout out to Rex McKinnis. Still hasn't watched the John Wick movies, but that's okay. He'll get there. But one of his friends said they watched John Wick 3 only. Like they only went and they watched because they were like with family in town and they wanted to see John Wick and he went along with them. So he just started 3. And even Rex himself and all of us like, what? How do you start at 3? Like
That's like watching Ninja Turtles in time before you've seen all the others.
you just could just skip that one.
That's like seeing Back to the Future 3.
Right? And you're like, how did they
That's
get there? Like it doesn't fit. That's like you're watching a series and you just jump in. It's pretty much jumping into the third episode without knowing like how you
that's
got there.
like starting on Breaking Bad season 3, episode 4.
Exactly.
And,
Like
and the
how
whole
like
time you're like, what's happening? Who's
you
that
don't
guy? Why
you
don't they
don't
like him?
know
What's going on with the dog?
you don't know the importance of that's like watching the Breaking Bad movie. You don't know the importance of the
Yeah.
characters and the development and nothing like that. You just like, oh, that was a cool movie, I guess, and it doesn't hit you as hard as like
You're
watching the
not
whole
going to get
series.
anything.
Just plain droll take scene taken 1 and 3 only. Okay, so you know what? Before we go on
That's
another
fine.
tangent about how you people are doing things wrong, I just want to say, watch stuff in order. Thank you for being here, and you can find everything Machine Room Podcast at machineroompodcast.com. Am I right?
Yes.
That's right. Please, if you're listening to this or watching us on YouTube, please join us Wednesday nights, 11 p.m. Central, here on Twitch. And also follow us on I cannot
Twiddle.
speak, on our Twitter, Real Machine Room, because we would love for you to send us any questions, any topics, any comments, anything. All right?
Also, we do have a Discord. So if you go to our website, machineroompodcasts.com,
Mm-hmm.
you can go to our Discord and you can comment on things that happened here on this episode or previous episodes, or maybe something that you want us to talk about in future episodes.
There you go. There you have it. I'm Nostradamus. Follow me on Twitch. And this is Hammer of Venus. Follow her on Twitch. And once again, we thank you for coming to the Machine Room Podcast. You can hang around, but you're going to have to leave eventually. Catch you next week, ladies and gentlemen. Peace out. Play that outro like a badass. Machine Room Podcast was filmed in front of a live studio audience.
Hey, pussy.